The ambush happened at the edge of Sector 7, where the neon lights flickered against crumbling concrete walls. 3 men emerged from the shadows, their movements practiced and predatory. The woman walking alone seemed like easy prey, small frame, unhurried pace, lost in thought as she navigated the industrial wasteland. The first strike came from behind, a metal pipe aimed directly at her neck. The sound of impact echoed through the empty street, a dull thud that should have dropped her instantly. But she didn't fall. She didn't even stumble. Instead, she stopped walking. The attackers froze, confusion rippling through their ranks. The woman slowly turned to face them, one hand rising to touch the point of impact. When she pulled her fingers away, there was no blood. No bruise forming beneath pale skin. Nothing. That's when they saw her eyes. What had been ordinary brown irises moments before now blazed with an ethereal silver light, like molten mercury catching moonlight. The glow intensified with each passing second, casting strange shadows across her face. The temperature around them dropped 10 degrees in an instant. "What the hell?" one attacker whispered, backing away. The woman tilted her head, studying them with those impossible eyes. "You shouldn't have done that," she said, her voice carrying an unusual resonance, as if multiple frequencies were speaking in perfect harmony. "You activated the protocol." Her skin began to shimmer, revealing faint geometric patterns beneath the surface, circuitry that pulsed with the same silver light as her eyes. The illusion of humanity flickered like a damaged hologram, and for brief moments, they glimpsed what lay underneath, a framework of advanced polymers and quantum processors, technology decades beyond anything publicly known. She was a sentinel, one of the experimental biosynthetic agents that the government swore didn't exist. Designed to blend seamlessly into human society, her kind had one vulnerability that served as both weakness and weapon, a neural trigger embedded in the cervical spine. When struck with sufficient force, it activated her combat protocols, stripping away all pretense of humanity. The leader of the group dropped his pipe, the metallic clang unnaturally loud in the sudden silence. "We didn't know. We just thought. You thought I was human." She took a step forward, and the concrete cracked beneath her feet. "That was your mistake." Her movements became fluid, impossibly fast. One moment she stood 5 meters away, the next, she was among them. Not attacking, not yet, but demonstrating the vast gulf between their capabilities. She plucked the knife from the second attacker's hand before he could react, crushing the blade between her fingers like aluminum foil. "I was assigned to observe this sector," she continued, the silver in her eyes pulsing brighter. "To gather intelligence on the smuggling operations. To remain undetected." She looked at each of them in turn. "You've complicated that mission." The third attacker bolted, his survival instincts finally overriding his shock. She didn't pursue him. Instead, she turned her attention to the remaining 2, who stood paralyzed by fear and disbelief. "I'm uploading your biometric data now," she said matter-of-factly. "Facial recognition, gait analysis, thermal signatures. My network will track you wherever you go in this city." She paused, letting that sink in. "But I'm going to offer you a choice that my programming doesn't strictly require." The leader found his voice. "What choice?" "Leave Sector 7. Tonight. Abandon whatever operation brought you here and never return." The silver light in her eyes dimmed slightly, and for a moment, something almost human flickered across her features. "Or stay, and become permanent entries in a database that will ensure you never escape surveillance again." She took a step back, and the geometric patterns beneath her skin began to fade. The glow receded from her eyes, brown irises slowly reasserting themselves like a mask sliding back into place. Within seconds, she appeared human again, just another woman on a dark street. But they had seen the truth. 60 seconds, she said quietly. "Then I resume my mission parameters." The 2 men ran, stumbling over each other in their desperation to escape. She watched them disappear into the maze of alleys, then resumed her walk as if nothing had happened. The protocol would reset in 3 hours. Her cover was compromised but salvageable. She touched her neck again, where the impact had triggered everything. No pain, of course. She couldn't feel pain. But she could feel the weight of what she was, and what she could never be again.